I'm at the Hillsborough show, and I've just photographed a very ornate French bronze clock and candelabra set, and rings on hour, half hour. It rings on the hour and half hour, circa 1860, and was owned by generations of a single family, and it sells for $6,500, and it is from Antique Clocks of Santa Cruz in Aptos, California. So I'm here at the Hillsborough show, and I'm talking to, what is your name, young lady?
Susan Kushless.
Susan Kushless. Could you spell your last name,
Yes.
please?
K-U-S-L-I-S.
And where are you from?
I'm from Aptos, but our store is actually in SoCal, which is California.
Okay. And so you have the bronze clock I just photographed, and you were telling me that it was held captive in the same family for a long time?
4 generations.
Well, how did you free it?
Well,
did it take some cash?
It took some cash, but it was actually a very sad story because it came to the current generation. It was a son. He looked at it and went, I don't think so. I'm not keeping this.
Wait, the son,
sold it.
the ungrateful, no good son,
You got it.
He looked at it and he says, this thing is packing?
Out of here. And so that's how we ended up getting it.
Wow.
His great-grandmother
Yes.
had bought the clock in France.
Oh, she'd actually bought it in France.
She actually bought it in
In
France.
1860?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. So that was the most unfortunate thing for them, but great for us.
So that worked out for you, because you have obviously a fabulous clock.
Thank you.
Speaking of which, is there another great timepiece that you have here that
This one is also,
this one here?
This one is called a boulet.
It's called a what?
A French boulet.
This one, which one are we talking? This one.
This
okay.
one.
This is a French boulet. And what do you spell boulet for the uninitiated?
B-O-U-L-L-E.
Okay.
And it is a Napoleon III. And this one is from the 1700s. And the clock is unusual because this is tortoiseshell, and it was only used for a certain period
So this
of time.
is tortoiseshell, and what would it normally be? Just wood, or what makes that unusual, the fact that it's tortoiseshell?
They didn't use it for a very long period of time. They
I see.
only used it for one section of time in the 1700s.
I see. So during a short, what decade would you say that was the great tortoiseshell decade?
The great tortoiseshell, 1700s.
1700, but there's 10 decades
Right.
in there.
Is going to be toward the end of
Toward
that
the
period.
end of
Okay,
that
so
Yes.
so it was
So
either
it's
1780.
1780.
Well,
Yeah.
about so the most.
June 32nd
East.
of 1783.
Okay,
But there's only 30 days in June.
well
so
we've
it's gotta
got
be
we've got that one.
second then.
Well, we'll go over it. We'll make.
We'll figure that out
Yeah.
later.
You know, anytime we tell you closer than 30 years span,
Yes.
we're lying to you. Because we can't
There
space
isn't
it
any-
much
unless-
closer
So
than that.
let's say when
Sometime-
you're stopped by the police and they ask your age, that there's a range of 30 years there that
Boy,
you
we
might
would bet
give.
you-
If you're over 200 years old, yes.
Oh, okay.
Now, part of the problem with this now, as you may know, Fish and Game is not allowing any types of animal products to be sold. So it has to be over a certain age before it can be sold.
When you say
So-
Fish and Game, you mean the federal or the state fishing?
State.
Because I've heard that
Yes.
the state went a little crazy,
They
Yes, they
have
did.
and that they're backtracking from the insanity that they inflicted on this
they will.
industry.
I
Hopefully
know.
they will.
Because they were taking back ivory, and I mean, we watched it. We've seen
You
it
want to talk
happen
about
at auction.
non-specifics. The bigger problem you have is
Unlike us,
I'm still
we're no longer swingers.
they're particularly popular in Contra Costa County.
Now I understand that this clock is called a swinger. Now what makes this thing a swinger? It's a little old to be a swinger, I would think.
Well, it's the county clock of Costa. What's the
We don't like to alliterate.
Alameda? Contra Costa County. I'm kidding you. Remember Contra Costa County had a big article back in the 70s about the swingers? You don't remember that?
No.
The only reason this is called a swinger is because it swings.
Okay, it's called a swinger because it swings.
Yeah.
How old would you say this thing is?
This?
Yes.
Probably
1850?
no.
More or less.
1880.
Okay, about 1880. Is this French?
No, this is American.
So this is American. So this is an American clock made about 1880. And how much do you want for it?
$2,500.
$2,500. And how does it keep on going? You wind it up somewhere?
You wind it once a week.
You wind it once. So is there a name for clocks that you wind once? Is that called 7-day clocks?
We call them an 8-day clock.
An 8-day clock.
Because
So just in case. So you've got a few hours leeway there. It doesn't have to be exactly once a week. An 8-day clock. And did you tell me how much you want for this?
$2,500.
$2,500. Okay, fantastic. Now we're still talking about the swinger clock, and it's made from spelter. It's a pot metal, and part of the thing that makes these interesting. Now this is the which is the hunter and which is the
fisherwoman has the fish.
So this is the This is the fisherwoman. She's a fishwife,
yes.
And this is a huntress. This is not Diana, right? This is.
So far as I know, it's not Diana.
Okay, this is not Diana, and
But
she's carrying her pheasant.
Yes.
And this. This woman here, she's carrying a fish. Where's her fish?
Right over here.
Okay, so there's the. Oh yes, there's the fish. Now we can see the fish, and we can see the pheasant. Fantastic. So, and they usually break off because I assume they're delicate and they. Okay, well I will get close up.